Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily News Quiz Analysis for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 24 December today, and in this video we are going to solve different types of questions which are relevant for your preparation if you are preparing for your UPSC exam next year or any civil service exam. Before we'll start discussing these questions, I would like to give the brief introduction about the video so that if you are new to this channel, you will get more connected with it. Every day we try to upload this video on our YouTube and we discuss various types of questions in it. And if we'll break these questions, they will come majorly in three parts. In the first part of our discussion, we discuss questions with respect to the current affairs. What we do, we take up the most important articles from the newspapers which are relevant for your preparation. We break them down into the simplest language possible and derive the possible prelims based questions from those particular articles so that it will give you the idea how a prelims based question can be formed from these newspapers, from these news articles, and how you should go through your preparation, how you should read the newspapers, which part of the newspaper is important for your preparation, and also how the examiner can ask a question from that particular article. So this is all what we cover in the first part of our discussion. After discussing questions with respect to the current affairs, we shift to the next part of our discussion where we take up questions directly from the static portion. Right now we had started with Indian polity, and in Indian polity we had reached up to DPSPs. Today we are going to discuss an article from the DPSP. After that we will derive a prelims based question from that particular article and give the idea, even though the article itself may seem very small, may seem very concrete, may seem very discrete, but still UPSC can frame a question from that particular article and surprise you. So you have to be prepared very well for your for any kind of test which they are going to put in front of you. So this is what we are going to discuss in the second part of our video, in the second part of our discussion. After discussing questions with respect to the current affairs, with respect to the static part, we shift our approach towards the last part of our discussion where we take up some previous year questions. What we do, we take up previous year questions from the previous year papers. We try to discuss them and break the questions into the simple language and try to find out what is the vocabulary which UPSC often uses, and what are the ways and methods by which we can still solve the question if we don't have the proper knowledge, what are the different tricks involved in that, and also how we can implement this knowledge in the upcoming exam, as UPSC has this habit of repeating the questions, or at least repeating the statements. So this is all what we are going to discuss in this video. Now, before solving these questions, I would like to request to you one thing, that is, please, if you are preparing for your next UPSC exam, then do one thing, do start writing these questions and somewhere with you, keep note of these questions, or at least take the screenshot of these questions, when your exams would be near. I am talking about the month of May, when only few days are left for your exams. At that time, your anxiety level would be different. You would want to revise everything, but time won't permit you. But if that time you have these questions with you, these questions would definitely connect you with the current affairs. They will connect you with the static part, as well as they will give you the analysis of previous year questions, and it will boost your confidence before entering the exam hall. And one more thing, who knows, as I already told you what are my sources of these questions, who knows, it is this, as we know, it is the same source used by the UPSC for framing your questions. So there are chances that many questions can coincide, or at least the concepts would definitely coincide. So being on the safer side, I would like to request you guys, please do note down these questions, keep them with you, develop your own question bank. When your exams would be near, when few days are left, you would just revise them and they will connect you with your syllabus, what is required for you to read. So with this, I would like to request one more thing to you guys, please do subscribe the channel if you had not subscribed yet. Do share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited from this initiative, and also do write in the comments what else should we bring for you. Please do interact with us, do criticize us if we are lacking somewhere. If the criticism is due, do criticize us. We will try to improve ourselves in that regard. So with this, let us start with the first question here. Let us see what does the question ask. you know Before we will solve this question, I will like to remind you a question which we discussed a few days back with respect to the critical minerals. We did a comprehensive discussion over it. I don't feel that we should bring that discussion back to this lecture, because it would be like discussing same thing every day. Here we had brought a totally different question, but discussion would be same with respect to critical minerals, with respect to rare earth elements. What is the basic difference between the two? How rare earth elements are the part of the critical minerals? We discussed that how there is the intermingling of these two, and how our dependence is on different nations, how we are not able to produce, how India is not able to have this, these rare earth elements or critical minerals, how we are not able to get these things from our domestic soil. So what are the various issues? We had discussed them in a very detailed manner. But here, coming back to this question, why we had brought this question, because there was an article in the newspaper which basically described how India is how India's reliance on China for critical minerals, how much we are reliant on China for the critical minerals, how China is almost enjoying the monopoly over the critical minerals, because they have the resources, they have the technology to dig these critical minerals out. They have the technology to do the processing. We also, if I would like to take you back few months, you would have heard a news that India has discovered lithium in Jammu and Kashmir. We had discovered some J&K, we had discovered some lithium reserves in Jammu and Kashmir, but we are not able to extract that. And the only reason for that is because we don't have the proper technology to do that. And that is the one of the major reasons why rare earth elements are called rare. It is not that they are not that much available in the earth. They are available in the earth, but the extraction is not easy. We need superior technology for that, and for that technology we don't have right now. We are not able to have that technology, and that's why we are dependent on China. So with respect to this article, what this article says, it says that how much China is enjoying monopoly over it, how China holds 39% of supplies of raw critical minerals, and also more than 50%, with respect to imports of these critical minerals, more than 50% comes from China itself, in India. And also the processing, if we see, the issue with processing is the one of the major issue, that the countries are not able to have the critical minerals. If we will see about the processing, more than 86% of the processing for these critical minerals is done in China. So in this regard, China is enjoying the monopoly over these critical minerals. And also with respect to these critical minerals, they are used everywhere in the modern technology, whether it would be space industry, whether it would be defense industry, whether it would be in medicine. Wherever we are looking at, we will see the application of critical minerals and rare earth elements. So in this regard, we are not in a position to compete with China, because we are very much dependent on it. And that's why, even though there are huge trade wars between China and different countries, China and USA, China and India, but still we don't compromise on such issues. We are not in a position to have sanctions over China regarding these issues, because we are very much dependent on that in the modern technology. Now, this we had discussed in the earlier class also, and this is a little recap what we discussed there, and little more which was in the newspaper today, how much dependent we are, how China is, how the processing of these critical minerals is done in China, what is the percentage of that. More than 50% comes from China, Indian imports. And also with respect that, we also discussed how Ministry of Mines, how Ministry of mines, they had identified more than they had identified 30 critical minerals, and out of that, 10 of them are totally on out of these 30 critical minerals, 10 are those on which we are totally dependent. We have zero resources of those 10 minerals, and for those 10 minerals we depend on China very hugely. So this is what this article says, how we are dependent on China. So with respect to this, I thought, let's make a question a more style, a different way of question, UPSC can ask with respect to these critical minerals and rare earth elements. So I format this question here, and let's try to solve it. Here the question says, consider the following statements regarding the application of critical minerals. First statement, cobalt is crucial in the production of high, the reason why we are discussing these questions like that, it will give you, first of all, the application of cobalt, where it is being used, and also as it being the part of the critical minerals, how we are dependent on the foreign countries. Now let's discuss it. The first statement, cobalt is crucial in the production of high performance alloys used in aircraft engines and gas turbines. So we can find out here by this question itself that its application, where it is, how cobalt is important for us, as it is found in, as it is used, as it it is crucial in the production of high performance alloys, which is used in aircraft engines and gas turbines, as well as in manufacturing of lithium ion batteries for electric vehicles. 100% correct with respect to cobalt. So with respect to this question, the first statement is 100% correct. Coming to the second statement, it talks about the rare earth elements are exclusively used in defense applications like missile guidance system and are relevant to renewable energy technologies like turbines. So we can find out, we can see here from this statement that it is one of the reason for bringing such question is to provide you the information and also to develop a habit for you in solving these questions. So here we can see what are the applications of rare earth elements in defense as well as in the renewable energy. We can, if UPSC has this habit, they will ask you direct question that rare earth elements are used in missile technology, in wind turbines, and they will give you other examples for that. So it is best to know where they are used. So with respect to this question, the second statement is also correct. Coming to the third statement, it talks about niobium is essential for strengthening steel used in pipelines and structural applications, and is also used in superconducting magnets for MRI machines. 100% correct. For MRI machines, we need superconducting magnets, and for that niobium is very much essential element. So with respect essential element. So with respect, this third statement is also correct. Now coming to the last statement, it talks about the platinum group metals like platinum and palladium are primarily used in catalytic converters for automobiles to reduce emissions and have application in the chemical industry or in hydrogen production. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, all the four statements are correct. So by solving this question, what did you get? You got different rare earth elements and critical minerals, how they have the different applications, how wide their applications are, and how much we are dependent on China over these things. So with this, I hope you had understood the context of this question as well as the question itself. Now with this, let's move to the another question and try to solve that. Here the another question, it is about the Foreign Protected Areas Order 1958. Let us see what does the question say. Which of the following states regarding the Foreign Protected Areas Order 1958 is are correct? So why we had brought this question? Because the Ministry of Home Affairs, they had reimposed restrictions in 3 northeastern states. What are these restrictions? Where did I lost my, yeah, here it is. What are these 3 northeastern states? They are Manipur, it is Nagaland, and it is Mizoram. In these 3 northeastern states, this it has been restrictions had been reimposed, and it is protected area regime, or we can say protected area permits are needed to visit these particular states. So with respect to this, we need to understand this protected area regime or protected area permit. We need to understand this act, which is Foreigners Protected Areas Order 1958. We need to understand it, and this we can understand through this question. Here the first statement, it says it empowers the central government to declare certain areas in India as protected areas and restrict the entry of all foreign nationals, including persons of Indian origin. Here we have to see, first of all, 100% it empowers the central government to declare certain areas in India as protected areas. For example, there are areas, earlier it used to be Jammu and Kashmir and other states in northeast, especially we can talk about Mizoram, Manipur, and Nagaland. The conditions, the security conditions are very volatile there. So the central government can feel that particular nationals from particular nations won't be allowed to enter these particular states, because they feel that because of the foreign interference there can be more security crisis. So they restricted them entering these particular places. So this is the major work of this order, that it empowers the central government to declare certain areas in India as protected areas and restrict the entry of those particular nationals. But here the question talks about the all foreign nationals, and it is totally incorrect. It is very extreme, including persons of origin. It is also very extreme, because there are certain certain leniency given to the persons of Indian origin. So with respect to this question, the statement is incorrect. But what did we understood from this act? It empowers the central government to declare certain areas in India as protected areas. So coming to the second statement, the order mandated that foreign nationals, excluding citizens of neighboring countries like Nepal and Bhutan, require a protected area permit to visit these designated areas. 100% correct. They require a protected area permit. The order mandates the foreign nationals, excluding citizens of neighboring countries like excluding the citizens of neighboring countries like Nepal and Bhutan. Other foreign nationals, they need this protected area permit to visit these designated areas. So they need this permit to visit these designated areas. Otherwise, if they want to visit our country, they can visit every state, but except these states. If they don't have these permits, they can't visit these particular states in which this foreign protected area order 1958 is in work, or we can say protected area regime is in work, or we can say these restrictions are in work. Now coming to the third statement, it says the primary objective of the order is to safeguard national security and maintain public order in sensitive border regions and areas of strategic importance. 100% correct, nothing wrong with the statement. Then the fourth statement, the Ministry of Home Affairs is the authority responsible for issuing PAPs, and state governments have no role in the process. In fact, it is very true that it is the Ministry of Home Affairs which is the authority which is responsible for issuing PAPs, but state governments have the role in that. They have the say in that. So with respect to this question, the correct statement, this statement is also incorrect. Now with respect to this question, the correct statement is statement 2 and statement 3. So from this question, what did we understood? We understood what this Foreigners Protected Area Order 1958 is. What does it empower? It empowers the central government to declare certain areas in India as protected areas, and for the foreign nationals to enter these protected areas, they need protected area permit. And who is the ministry which gives this protected area permit? It is the Ministry of Home Affairs, but there would be definitely the say from the central state governments, because these are the governments which have the responsibility of making peace there. So they will definitely have the say. It is not solely done by this Ministry of Home Affairs. So this is what we needed to understand from this question. And why we are discussing this? Because in 2010 itself, in 2010, these restrictions were removed from these particular states, from Manipur, Nagaland and Mizoram. But because of the issues in the Manipur right now, these restrictions had been reimposed. The insurgency is back. It means that insurgency is back in these particular areas. We are seeing Kuki versus Meiteis in Manipur, and also it is believed that it is because of the foreign some foreign persons have the role to play in these particular crises. So this is what we need to understand from this question. I hope you had understood it. With this, let's move to the another question and try to solve it. Here the question is with respect to the papier mache craft in India. Consider the following statements. With respect to this papier mache craft, it has why it is in news, because there was a news article which talked about the Kashmir artisans gave wings to dodo. About dodo, we will see it in the next question what that is actually. So they had made this craft of that dodo, a flightless bird. So about this paper mache, how it reached Kashmir, it was in the 14th century when it reached Kashmir, because of the Mir Said Ali Hamdani, who came from Turkestan, from the Central Asia, who came from Central Asia to and visited Kashmir. In his role was separate. The major role of Mir Said Ali Hamdani was to separate Islam in Jammu and Kashmir. So he brought with him this craft in Jammu and Kashmir, and it is widely used. You would often, if you would have visited Jammu and Kashmir, you would often see this craft in many places. On different shops or selling such crafts. So this is one of the important industry in Jammu and Kashmir. So with respect to this, let's solve a question on that and get more idea about it. Here the question first statement says paper mache involves creating objects using a pulp made of paper mixed with an adhesive, often combined with other materials like cloth or clay. 100% correct. It uses the pulp it is using pulp made of paper mixed with an adhesive and combined with other materials like cloth or clay. 100% correct. The craft is geographically restricted to the state of Jammu and Kashmir, where it originated during the 14th century. It has been given GI tag in Jammu and Kashmir, but it did not originate in Jammu and Kashmir. It was brought in Jammu and Kashmir by Mir Said Ali Hamdani from Hamdan from the Central Asia. Then the third, so this statement is incorrect. Third statement: the use of vibrant colors and intricate hand-painted designs, often depicting floral motifs, chinar leaves, and scenes from nature, is a characteristic feature of paper mache from Kashmir. 100% correct. Nothing wrong with the statement. Statement 4: paper mache products are exclusive decorative items and have no functional applications in everyday life. This is incorrect. It has an exclusive decorative role, but it also plays a functional role. It is being used in day-to-day life there. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 3 only. 1 and 3 only. So with this, I hope you had understood the technique of paper mache, what it is. It has got GI tag. It was introduced in Jammu and Kashmir by Mir Said Ali Hamdani, who was from Central Asia. With this, let's move to the another question and try to solve that. About it is another question would be related to paper mache, because of that the Kashmiri artisan who formed that dodo. Because of that we are discussing it here. It becomes important for us to understand what this dodo is. UPSC can ask a question on this in the exam, so let's understand that. Here the question says, with reference to the dodo, an extinct flightless bird, consider the following statements. It is an extinct flightless bird. So let's see what does it say. The dodo was endemic to the islands of Mauritius in Indian Ocean. 100% correct. Nothing wrong with this statement. They were endemic to it. The primary cause of the dodo's extinction was volcanic activities on Mauritius, which destroyed its habitat. Totally incorrect. It is not the primary cause of it, but we will see it in the third statement. What was the primary cause? Third statement: the dodo's inability to fly made it particularly vulnerable to introduce predators such as pigs, rats, and monkeys brought by European sailors. 100% correct. Nothing wrong with the statement. Because of its ability to not fly, it made it vulnerable, because the predators which were brought by the European sailors like pigs, rats, and monkeys, it made it vulnerable to them. The fourth statement: the dodo's extinction serves a prominent example of the impact of human activities on biodiversity and the vulnerability of island ecosystem. 100% correct. It is a primary example of how human can impact the biodiversity of a particular area. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1, statement 3, and statement 4. So from here we can see that it was the endemic to the island of Mauritius, and it is an extinct flightless bird. How it got into extinction? Because of as it was not able to fly, and the introduction of other predator species which were brought by the humans in that particular region, it led to the extinction of those birds. So with this, I hope you had understood this question also. Now with this, let's move to the last question after this discussion from the current affairs. As here the question is about, let's see what does the question say. Consider the following challenges faced by India in becoming leading global supplier of skilled workforce. Here the article basically discusses about how India is envisioning itself as a global skill supplier. How PM Modi, he said that he would want India to be a main supplier in global skill market. There are major demands of the labor right now in different countries, in the developed countries, as they have developed in a different level, and they need these immigrant laborers. So India can be the country which can provide them that, but there are some gaps which the country should look into. For example, there is a lack of comprehensive skill based labor policy in our country. There are different the level of skill which is needed there, and the level which we provide to our worksmen, it is not compatible. There is no comprehensive policy to align with global change. Where in our country there is no comprehensive policy that we can align with the global change. We have an issue that what the globe needs, and we are way behind that. No, and also there is no data to analyze our own labor migration. There we had not developed that data. We can analyze our own labor migration, and also we are fully dependent on bilateral agreements. So there are various issues in our policies which we need to look into, and what would be the way forward in that. We need to need for a cycle forecasting. For example, what would be used after 10 years, what cycles would be in use. So we have to develop our people like that. We have to bring vocational training like that. We have to prepare our laborers for that. We have to be very much we have to improve our vision. We have to forecast what would be the cycle which would be needed, and also we have to align skill developed courses in the same way. We have to return migration, and we have to put major focus on qualitative and quantitative data on labor migration. How many people are going outside, what would be their how what are their skill levels, and what is required. We have to have the proper data about that. We don't have to do it randomly. So we have to prepare our people with respect to the demands of the west, with respect to the demands of the developed nations. The labor supply is the major, it can be a game changing for the people in our country, but we lack the skills what the countries want. What these countries want, what these developed countries want from us, we lack that skill. So we have to develop our people, we have to develop our generations with respect to that. We have to give them that proper education. We have to forecast things what are going to happen in the future. We have to bring the policies with respect to that. So this is what was in the news article, and here we will see much more what are the other challenges related to it. What are the other challenges faced by India in becoming a leading global supplier of skilled workforce. The first statement, it says a significant skills gap exists between the training provided by educational institutions and the actual requirements of industries, both domestically and internationally. 100% correct. This is one of the major challenges. There is a skill gap. What is required in the industries, whether it would be domestic or international, and what is provided to us. So we need to come in line with that. Second, India's vocational training infrastructure is inadequate, characterized by outdated curricula, a shortage of qualified trainers, and limited industrial linkages. 100% correct. We have outdated curricula, we have shortage of qualified trainers, and we have limited industry linkages. Then the third statement with respect to this is the lack of standardized skill certification and recognition across different sectors and countries hinders the mobility and employability of Indian skilled workers globally. 100% correct. Then the fourth statement, social stigma associated with vocational training and manual labor often deters individuals from pursuing skill-based education and careers. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, all the four statements are correct. Now with this we completed our today's discussion with respect to the current affairs questions. After that, we will shift our approach towards today's static topic. As right now we are discussing DPSP, so today's question would be with respect to the article from DPSPs. So today's question would be on Article 50. Let us analyze it by this question. Let's understand it by this question. The question says Article 50 of the Indian Constitution deals with the separation of the judiciary from the executive. As it says, the state should separate judiciary from the executive. 100% correct. Now it says which of the following statements accurately reflect the intent and implication of this article. First statement, it says the complete and immediate separation of all functions of the judiciary, and it mandates the complete and immediate separation of all functions of the judiciary and the executive at all levels of the government. Totally incorrect. It is very extreme statement. Why we bring these statements here? To give you the analysis, to make you understand that sometimes when you look at the question, you may feel the statement is correct, but often it is the habit of the UPSC. Whenever you will find the extreme statements, there are chances, 90% chances that that particular statement would be incorrect. It was not its mandate was not to bring immediate separation of all functions of the judiciary and the executive. It was done in different stages. So with respect to this question, the first statement is incorrect. Now coming to the second statement, it says it directs the state to take steps to separate the judiciary from the executive in the public services of the state. 100% correct, nothing wrong with the statement. Third, it explicitly defines the, look at the term here, it explicitly defines the specific mechanisms and timelines for achieving this separation, leaving no room for legislative interpretation. Totally incorrect. There is no, it does not define, specific mechanism, neither it gives us the timeline. So with respect to this question, this statement is also incorrect. Now coming to the fourth statement, it says it aims to ensure the independence of the judiciary and uphold the principle of natural justice by preventing the executive from exercising judicial powers. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 2 and statement 4. Let's move to the last part of our discussion, where we will solve some previous year question and discuss about that. Till today, until yesterday, we were discussing the questions related to the history. We discussed the ancient history. We discussed all the questions, almost every question with respect to ancient history, with respect to medieval history, with respect to modern history, with respect to India's struggle of independence. We discussed, I think, more than 500 previous year questions, I believe so. We discussed all what was asked with respect to history till now. Now today we are going to start our discussions, the previous year questions related to geography. And today's question is about the meteor, as it was asked in the exam once. And let's see what does the question say and what information we can get from it. How the challenge, how the trend has changed since then. This question was asked in 1995. A simple and straightforward question. A meteor is, what is it? Is it a rapidly moving star? No, it is not a star. It is a part of constellation? No. Is it a comet without a tail? No. Then what is it? It is a piece of matter which has entered the Earth's atmosphere from outer space. So with respect to this question, the statement correct is option B. Now what do we get from here? What do we get from this question? A question like that can be asked. They can ask you a question about the constellation. They can also ask you a question about a comet. They can ask you different questions related to meteor, related to space particles. So we need to have the proper information about that. With respect to this question, the correct statement is option B. It is a piece of matter which has entered the Earth's atmosphere from outer space. So with this, we conclude today's discussion. I hope I was able to explain everything which is important. I was able to explain everything very nicely. There are no confusions left, I hope so. And if there are, please do write in the comments. We will try to clear that. And we try our best to be accurate, but we are humans, we may tend to make mistakes. If there is any mistake found, that would be very, that would be like we had कि वो इस तरह की mistake होगी कि हमें हमारे ध्यान से गई होगी. So please do write in the comments. We will try to clear that too. So with this, I would like to say goodbye to you today. Let us see you tomorrow at the same time, at the same venue. Till then, goodbye and take care. Best of luck for whatever you are preparing for. Thank you very much for staying with me if you stayed till now.